This is file number 26154 FY. You're Benjamin Scott Hopkins,
Sure.
and you've agreed to waive your preliminary examination here today.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Hopkins, you've got unpaid fine and cost of $204 in an old insufficient funds check case. Why don't you stop out at the counter before you leave here today and make arrangements to pay that?
Yes, I need to. Well,
Okay, otherwise your matter will be bound over to circuit court. Your bond conditions all remain in effect and you're free to go.
okay. Thank you, sir.
Then King Trevino has 3 files and I have waivers on all 3.
All right, Mr. Trevino? I
He's
think
in
he's
custody.
in custody. All right, 3 waivers. All right, Hopkins, Barnett, Trevino. That leaves, do we have any more?
No.
All right, so what we have left is, and would you see if you can find Miss Ives? I hope she didn't leave. Scott Oliver, Michael Moore, Christina Robinson, Kyle Wellington, and Christopher Wooster. Let's see who's here. Is Scott Oliver here? Just stay where you are for now. Scott Oliver, Michael Moore, Christina Robinson,
She's in custody.
Kyle Wellington, and Christopher Wooster. Have you talked to Jack Brandt?
I've talked with Jack Brandt and I gave him a letter yesterday, but I thought that it seemed like he wanted to talk with is there a sign? I don't know if there's someone here today to do sign language.
We'll
but-
use the closed caption
Okay.
option.
It seemed like he wanted me to kind of talk to him, I think, on that closed caption or through the sign, and it was hard talking with him at the jail when we were not having those things, I guess.
All right, we'll see. All right. Do we know what we're doing with the people that were here? Scott Oliver,
Scott Oliver, I believe, is going to be a misdemeanor plea.
all right, Michael Moore,
Michael Moore he's asking for another adjournment today. I explained that typically the court would only adjourn it one time if because he's indicating he's still trying to retain private
we'll make a
counsel.
record on him. Kyle Wellington,
Kyle Wellington he needs to make a decision. He's been offered a misdemeanor plea and he and I have discussed that and he hadn't made his final decision on that.
and Christopher Wooster.
I do not see him. Is he here? Christopher Wooster? I don't see him here, I guess.
A shocking identity mix-up almost labeled Scott Oliver as a habitual offender. The judge checks the record and realizes the system likely ran the wrong name. Same birthday, similar name, different person. The felony gets dismissed, but the court still orders the firearm forfeited because you can't have a gun while intoxicated.
And I checked and I don't think they said that he checked in.
Christina Robinson. Oh, she's in custody. Rhonda, what are we gonna do with Carl Lockhart?
So I just got off the phone with Lauren at the jail, from Pivotal. And there is an offer that is kind of conditioned upon Mr. Lockhart going directly into treatment. So she's trying to confirm that she can make that happen. And then I believe the offer would be to a DV second. And that's what Mr. Lockhart would like to do. And he understands fully that he would not be released from jail. You'd have to go directly to this treatment. We just want to make sure that I think that all can fall into place.
So will we do a plea this morning or leave it on for a prelim for next week?
Well, I think I'd like to try to get the plea done this morning. I do have an 11 o'clock sentencing either with you or next door. next door. So I'm hoping that Lauren will get back to me within the next 20 minutes. I just got off the phone with her. She had just gotten in about 30 minutes ago and was just reviewing the emails that I had put together to her and CC Joshua Bear on. So a little bit of a holding pattern, but trying to get it resolved today to avoid the exam or further hearings.
Okay. All right, well, let's do what we can do here. Let's do, good morning, sir. Are you Scott D. Oliver?
Yes, Your Honor.
I met you at your arraignment. You got charged with carrying a concealed weapon, a pistol in your car, and with operating while intoxicated. The weapons charge is a felony punishable by up to 5 years imprisonment. Operating while intoxicated, well, let me stop. You're also charged as a fourth habitual offender, making that potentially punishable by up to 20 years imprisonment. Operating while intoxicated is plain old, what we used to call drunk driving. That's a misdemeanor punishable by up to 93 days in jail and a fine of up to $500.
Your Honor, I guess there's one thing that I forgot to mention is that I don't know if it needs to be corrected on the paperwork, but it looks like that when they originally filed this case, that they may have mixed up his criminal history with someone else, because I believe that.
Well, they charge him as Oliver Scott rather than Scott Oliver. And so we'll have to confirm. Let's take a look at the criminal history.
Because he's indicated that he may have some things on his history, but I don't believe that that's the right history, because it talks about North Carolina and Texas, and he said he didn't live in Texas or North Carolina. And so I'm thinking also in the.
Our file notices that there was an amended file removing those.
Okay, let's take a look.
Okay.
Amended complaint. Yeah, they're taken off. There's no habitual. What's the plea offer, Mr. O'Bear?
Offers for the defendant to plead to OWI first.
Forfeit the gun. Mr. Oliver, it doesn't appear you got prior criminal felonies, so the prosecutor remedied that. They filed a complaint that doesn't allege any prior felonies. I think they ran Oliver Scott rather than Scott Oliver.
Actually, Judge, I'll clarify that. There's a guy, Scott D. Oliver, but I have initial only. He has David. And our birthday is the same.
Oh, boy.
And the only thing's different, I was born in 63. He was born in 61. I've had this come up throughout my life. Anytime I possess a firearm, 80% of the time I'll get delayed. And the firearm that they took is a brand new firearm, never been fired. I'm not no crazy man. And
Well,
I
you
would really
can't
like
possess
this.
a firearm while you're intoxicated, so they're not gonna charge that, but I'm gonna have that firearm forfeited. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
All right. Other than the misdemeanor charge and the felony being dismissed, did anybody promise you anything
No, Your Honor.
or threaten you?
No, Your Honor.
You've given up all the rights on the advice of rights. Now, I heard Mr. Gibson whisper that you want to plead no contest because you don't have a clear memory of this. All right, that's a legitimate reason for a no contest plea. If you don't.
I tried to remember. I went back to the scene and I cannot remember.
Well, often there's was there an accident here?
Yes, I hit my head about went
Yeah,
through the
that's
windshield.
the quintessential no contest. There's an accident, people don't remember what happened. So by pleading no contest, you don't admit what happened, but you also don't deny what happened. And you accept that a conviction would enter. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, let's see what I can determine.
Scott explains this has followed him for years. Every time he buys a firearm, he gets delayed. He insists the gun was brand new and never fired, but the judge stays firm. A blood test came back at .158 after a crash, and the court sets screening and sentencing, warning him to take this seriously.
There's an affidavit of probable cause. Under Officer Hall, OUL Water and Cass Street in Constantine Harvey House Bar.
And it was a blizzard, the first blizzard is, or weather storm, because in the report it said it was clear and dry, and it was not. You can look at the weather report, that was the first winter blizzard.
All right, well, it was my birthday, so it did snow that day. And you had a crash.
Yeah.
They got there, they could see the gun inside the car. They got you out, got a search warrant, took your blood, and it came back at 158. You accept that?
In the hospital.
All right, let's set this for screening and sentencing. What do you do, sir?
I'm on Social Security disability, and I'm in the process of selling my home in Indiana and moving here to White Pigeon.
All right, that'll help. If we do a probation, it'd be much easier if you were here. Mr. Gibson, you seem to have a lot of things coming up here. Let's,
Also a veteran, Your Honor.
all right, congratulations. Thank you for that. How about Monday, March 23rd at 11? Does that work for you?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, that looks good.
All right, Mr. Oliver, I'm gonna send you out to the counter and the clerks will give you information about when to come back for the screening report, contact information. If you are gonna live here in White Pigeon, that would make it much easier to have you as a probationer. And we'll see what we're gonna do here. All right, you're good to go. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is file 252662FY. You're Michael Bradley Moore.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Moore, this charge allegedly occurred at December 30th of 2025. They submitted it on January 2nd. You're charged with delivery of methamphetamine, possession of methamphetamine, possession of ammunition as a felon. Let's click on all this other stuff. I got a bunch of files open here. Obviously, delivery of methamphetamine is a more serious charge than possessing it or using it. Your original attorney was Timothy George, and he was appointed by Mr. Gibson. The complaint alleges that in Three Rivers on December 30th, you did possess with intent to deliver methamphetamine as a second habitual offender, making that punishable by up to 40 years imprisonment. Possession would be a drug double, which would be a 20-year, and the firearm charge would be a 5-year as a fourth habitual, which could make theoretically all this punishable by up to life imprisonment. You got a lot of baggage on your criminal record, including previous drug charges. Bond was set in the amount of $15,000 cash or surety. You did post it by posting a percentage of it. Judge Pattison arraigned you on January 12th. Then I saw you on January 27th. Mr. Gabriel was here. Mr. Gibson, you wish to adjourn. You were gonna contact Levine and Levine. And so we adjourned the matter from January 27th till now. According to your aunt, you had contacted Anastasia Marcoux, so I adjourned the matter to the 10th, and then it got bumped again now. You're also on a parole. And so what's the status here, Mr. George?
The defendant has indicated that he's asking for an adjournment to have more time to try to retain, I guess, the attorneys he's spoken with, but I explained to the defendant that typically the court will allow such adjournments only to happen maybe once or twice, so I guess, but the defendant's, at this point, I guess he wanted to ask for that adjournment before making any decision on whether he would be willing to waive or the preliminary exam form.
In the old Hill Street Blues television show, they used to say they were asking for an adjournment because they were waiting for Mr. Green, which is a euphemism to say we're waiting to get paid before we decide whether we're going to get in this case. Have you actually consulted with anybody else?
I talked to Mataz, or the guy that runs the Levine and Levine.
Okay, Mr. Marco.
Marco, yeah, and he's my aunt's attorney. And then when they were going to switch our attorneys over, I was talking to Tim George, and I was like, well, he's always been okay with my cases and stuff, and I liked it. So I was like, well, I was just going to stick with Tim George, and then they switched him from that case.
Well, the problem is it's a Three Rivers Police Department case.
Yeah.
And Mr. George, that's a continuing problem. Mr. George is the city attorney for Three Rivers. So he has to disqualify every time there's a Three Rivers case, and one of the other attorneys gets the case passed on to them. So we're now into mid-February. What's your PO doing?
I was discharged the second.
Are you kidding me? They discharge you from parole while you have a pending new delivery charge?
I maxed out.
You maxed out your prison sentence?
Yeah, I did. I was arrested January 16th. I was still on parole when I posted bond, but I was discharged from MDOC the 5th of January.
Yeah.
Yes. It's rough.
And you've also got another charge bound over to circuit court.
Yeah.
Have they done a petition to change his bond in that case?
No,
Who's his lawyer in that case?
Tim.
Then comes Michael Moore, and it's heavy. Delivery of meth, possession, ammo as a felon, and a massive sentencing exposure. He's been stalling to hire a lawyer, but the judge calls it what it is: time wasted. The court gives him one last chance to retain counsel before the prelim is set.
Oh, so Mr. George can represent him in that case, but not this one. All right. Yeesh, you should be in custody.
That's why when I was talking to Tim, he was like, well, he's like, I can take both cases.
He
They
can't-
won't
he
let me
can't-
take
he can't-
both cases because of Three Rivers.
He can't
Three
take
Rivers.
both cases.
So I didn't go and talk to my family about getting the money to be able to hire my coup because I thought Tim George was going to represent me. And a few days ago, I just spoke to him, and that's when he advised me that the Three Rivers thing is a conflict of interest for him, so he's not going to be able to take my case. So
Well, that means essentially we just wasted all the time we've had. When did you talk to Mr. Mark?
it was 2 days before I came to court.
All right, well, right from the get-go, Mr. George couldn't represent you, so he did a stipulation and Mr. Gibson inherited the case. Mr. Gibson is willing to represent you, but he's in limbo. So we've adjourned this twice. We adjourned it, a 2-week adjournment on January 27th. And then apparently Judge P adjourned it again back to Attorney Gibson. All right, so on February 10th, it was determined, we already knew Tim George couldn't represent you back on January 27th. So they adjourned again on the 10th. No, I take that back. That substitution of attorney wasn't filed till January 11th, February 11th. So it wasn't cast in stone that Mr. George couldn't represent you.
I'm sorry, I'm not trying to make anything hectic for you, trouble you.
All right, I'm gonna continue this 2 weeks to March 3rd at 8:30. And then a prelim if needed for 3/10/26 at 1. Defendant to retain new counsel. I think what they're looking for, I mean, allegedly, they went in here with your parole officer and found 12 ounces of meth. I can't believe they discharged it from parole. Get a new charge and get your case dismissed. But if you maxed out, maybe there's rules I don't understand, but you're also on bond on a circuit court case.
Yeah, when you're sentenced to, like, when you take a charge, so let's say I'm sentenced to 1 to 10 years, okay? In Michigan, technically you're sentenced to 10 years, but you're eligible for parole after a year. So I was sentenced in 2016, January 5th of 2016. I was sentenced, so it was 8, actually. They had me sentenced then, and then the 5th of the 16th was my 10 years.
Again, I don't understand. There was a time, Josh, I don't know if you were here yet, when there was a ruling by a Michigan judge, Judge Beakey Nielsen, because it's what the law said. If there's a violation of parole, you have to serve the remainder of your sentence. So the Department of Corrections about imploded. If you got violated on a 1 to 10, you had to do 10.
That's what I basically did with the 10.
You did 10 years? Well, back then you had, they changed the law, but the system would have collapsed. And everybody that had any sort of tail got a parole violation. They had to do the max.
Yeah.
Anyway, they changed that. All right, I'm going to give you 2 weeks to hire a lawyer or not hire a lawyer. If you don't hire a lawyer, it's Mr. Gibson. If you do hire a lawyer, they'll know what to do.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Are you working someplace?
I'm working with my stepdad.
Doing what?
He runs Joe's mobile home repair. He's contracted through Skyline, Dutch Housing, and Champion
All right,
Homes.
so are you leaving the state of Michigan to
No,
do that stuff?
No, I don't leave the state of Michigan. He only does the jobs in Michigan with me because I can't leave the state of Michigan.
All right.
So,
The moment that changes everything. The judge asks what a drug test would show. Moore admits he'd probably be positive for meth. The judge snaps, saying there's no reason he should be out on bond, and warning if he's positive next time, the bond will go up. The courtroom goes silent.
If I gave you a test today, what would it show?
I'm not even gonna lie to you. I'll probably be negative.
You'd be positive for methamphetamine, or you say you'd be negative
I would probably be positive. I'm not
for
gonna lie.
meth?
Oh, yes, sir.
You're a mess. I'm gonna test you. I don't have anybody here to do it right now.
I understand.
There's no reason for you to be out on bond. You're on parole for meth. You're on bond for meth.
I was on.
And you're on another bond for meth, and you're still using meth, which is one reason why you don't have any money to hire a lawyer. You need to get locked up for your own well-being. I'm going to test you when I see you in 2 weeks. If you're positive, I'm going to increase your bond.
I'll be clean.
I appreciate your candor, but you need a lawyer, and it's either going to be Mr. Gibson or somebody that you retain. You got to do it by March 3rd.
Okay.
All right. You're good to go.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, that's my right phone number. I got another phone number too.
Okay, well, you should write the other number down.
Right out here.
You can write it in there. Is that the better number to call?
Either one of them.
And was that your mailing address then?
Yes, this is my address that I'm saying that.
All right, well, definitely, if, you know, get in.
Would you
touch
call the
with me
hall for
before it's
Christopher
due.
Wooster?
Let me know what.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, Kyle Wellington. All right, this is file number 26112FY. You, Kyle Michael Wellington?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Wellington, you're charged with aggravated domestic violence as a second offense, which is a felony.